All right. So what's going on? So I told you all I would be back with a little bit more information about what was going on in Amelia, the Imola GP, as we know it was supposed to happen this weekend. Right now, currently, that Grand Prix is probably at risk of not. Let me not say at risk. That Grand Prix likely may not happen, depending on how things keep unfolding. But it's not even important at this point in time whether that GP happens or not. What is important are the people around that live in that town, live in those cities, live in that country right now that are under duress, that are fighting for their lives. And like I said earlier, hoping that it would not be a situation where people were legitimately losing their belongings and other family members. And right now, that is the case. So, unfortunately, if you go to Formula One's website, you'll see that they're talking about tire testing and how it is to work alongside two-time champion Alonso, and really nothing about this. And I'm pretty sure they're not going to post anything about it until they're making a definite decision whether they're going to cancel the GP. It seems like Formula One is going to kind of continue on with, stories leading into a typical race weekend when this is not a typical race weekend. They have stories on their website about that. They have stories on their website about Mercedes and how they're coming up with their updates, and Red Bull. Everything on there pretty much is typical to what's going to go on this weekend, like this weekend is still going on. I don't know if this weekend is still going on, but I do know that these people are in trouble, and right now this is what's talked about. Now, this is one of the reasons why I like XE. I think XE in this situation would be highlighting more about what's going on in the local area that they're going to race in and how it's impacting those citizens, because this is pretty much what we have going on right now. I'm going to show you some videos. Some of this video might be a little bit sensitive to you all, so just keep in mind. But these are the things that are legitimately going on there, while Formula One does not have any of this on their website, nor anything that I see about contribution or volunteer work to try to establish a relationship to help and aid where they were going to race. All right. And that's one of the things about XE, race without a trace. So mind you, these are the things that are going on right here that you see: a child being rescued, flooding water, another one swimming, trying to get it to a rescue or responder. And as you see, that kid is being lifted up. It's going to be lifted up to somebody at that point in time. And this is what's going on right now in a place where we were all concerned about who was going to be on pole position, who was going to have the fastest lap, if Mercedes was going to bring updates and how this was going to look. This is what is going on there right now. And Formula One are not really talking about that. They're talking about tire testing. Yeah, these people are in a bad situation, in a bad way. And I'm very surprised at this point in time that there hasn't been an official announcement that indeed this race would be canceled. I am surprised about that. I'm very surprised about it. I don't even think, honestly, this is part of this is my gripe. Even if, because I've showed you, I had the thumbnail where workers were working on the track trying to clear it off. And I remember F1 evacuated personnel from the circuit earlier in response to try to get their personnel to safety, which they should have. But even if, let's just say, even if for some reason weather conditions subsided, flooding is not going anywhere anytime soon. But if it is at the track, okay, and they can find a way to logistically make this race happen, I would be utterly disgusted if Formula One did that. I would be utterly disgusted if Formula One decided that, we can still have this race, let's just have it, instead of canceling it. Instead of saying, you know what, listen, we're going to cancel this race. Drivers are free to go home. Teams, if you want, are free to go home. Exact personnel of the Formula One under FOM management, we will be holding volunteers that will help in a safe manner the surrounding community. Okay, that's what we're going to do. We were going to be here for 3 days anyway. We were going to be here for more than 3 days. We're going to be here for Wednesday, Thursday, setting up, doing everything we do logistically, Friday for free practice, Saturday for qualifying in FP3, and then Sunday for race. Well, since we're canceling the race, we're going to dedicate those days to assisting any way we can, safe as possible, if you want to volunteer in the towns and the cities where people have been impacted and are losing their lives, their belongings, their homes, their everything. As you see right there, it's not a game. This is what is going on. That is what is going on right now. So I would like to see some type of initiative from Formula One as to that. I'm not saying that they're not working on something. I'm not saying that Formula One doesn't already have a plan to do so. What I am saying is I don't see it. I'm unaware of it. I'm not saying I'm an important person like they need to make me aware of it, but it would be nice to see like, okay, Formula One they're going to do more than just go in, race. And you know what? If they can't race, it's not going to be anything said. We're going to go on to the next one. I don't want to see that. I really don't want to see that. That would be just not great. Okay, so as you see right now, that's what these people are under. And like I said, I know all of us were worried about a lot of other things, but life has unexpected situations, and this unexpected situation is impacting them, period. There's no sense for me to say more than. It's not even worried about more. It's impacting them, period, as you see. Okay. And you could imagine several of them were probably ready to enjoy a race themselves, and they're not even thinking about a race. They're thinking about my place, my belongings, do I have insurance? What's my life going to be like? Several 100,000 residents of the town were told to avoid anything. Like, listen, avoid standing around trying to get a video for the gram. Avoid taking pictures, okay? 100,000 people were told, listen, don't do that. 900 people in areas of northern Italy were evacuated by late Tuesday night, okay? Around tonight sometime, evacuated. Some of these people are staying in gyms. Some of these people are staying in schools. Some of these people are staying in all types of places. We've had rescues by Cessna, helos, fire and first responders. It is crazy. It is crazy there right now for them. They are really going through something. So I just think that, the GP should be canceled, but I'm pretty sure seeing what we've seen before. Now, you got to remember, way back, I did a video. Formula One was going into the Middle East. I did a video that said not even a week from the time they were going to go into this race, that a 17-year-old girl was beheaded by her forced to be married husband, who I think was her cousin. Don't quote me on that. Was beheaded just because she was being abused. She ran away. She got away. She was abused. It's not easy in a country that looks upon females the way that country does in certain lights. All right. I'm not judging the country. I'm not judging the people. I'm just speaking to what we know. All right. And trying to put it in context. I'm not judging. I'm saying that she came back. All right. Because it wasn't easy for her on her own. She came back. He beheaded her and walked around the streets with her head in his hand while being celebrated by other males and men in that town. Finally arrested. Formula One, not even really highlighting the situation, still go in to have the race. And I'm going to keep it real. Here we come in America. Just recently, a citizen, not even a police officer, not an authority, murders and strangles, suffocates a man out with a rear naked choke. And Wallace could have did something way better than that. Could have detained him, could have called law enforcement, which in some situations in the United States is not always the best situation. And what I'm doing is I'm giving my country shit because it's only right. Like, we don't have everything correct in America. Facts, okay? I'm a black man in America. You can imagine that. This white guy chokes this black guy out, along with another black guy helping. They are not trained for this. He dies. Right now, Governor DeSantis in Florida, who is a horrible person, has managed to raise $2 million to defend a murderer. In Florida, we just had the Miami GP, right? We just had that, right? But yet people always want to say politics don't belong in sports. Well, right now, you're talking about a situation where this does not affect the sport. The sport should not have to talk about this. The sport should not address this. Listen, miss me with all that crap when you talk about politics don't belong in sports. Politics birthed sports since the gladiators took into the Coliseum. All of those people in the front row were politicians enjoying the sport of death and bloodshed. So miss me with that. So, yeah, I think the GP should be canceled. I think Formula One should offer aid in that same town and city where they were going to race and collect a big check up until the time where they were going to be there anyway. That would be a good notion. That would be a good gesture of faith and character. And I'm wishing the families, and people and residents of that town, that country, south, northern, everybody that's impacted by that, I'm hoping and wishing the best for you all. And I'm hoping this ends sooner than later so that these people can start to rebuild and regather themselves and hopefully get to a point where it is life normal again. And that's going to be a minute, okay? You don't know people's financial situations. Some of these situations will impact people for years, if not for the rest of their lives. So you never know what it's like until you've been in a situation like that. And like I say, New Orleans, Katrina, they know they've been through that. Several other places where they've had tsunamis and hurricanes and earthquakes and just natural disasters like this that are unexpected and you don't know what to do. But right now we're talking about it, and I'm going to talk about it because guess what? I would be on this same mic on this camera talking to you about Mercedes and updates. I would be on the same mic and on this camera talking to you about Ferrari and what they're going to do. Why is it that I should not have a responsibility to bring this news up when these people where this circuit is being held are being impacted? How ethical is that? What, it ain't important enough? What, are people just going to get quiet about the GP because it might not happen and not say anything else about this? Not even bring this up to highlight it like, hey, you don't think they wanted to go to the race too? But they can't. And they're not. And they don't give a damn about the race right now. And they shouldn't. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what goes on further as things develop. If things develop beyond this, then I will go ahead and come back on and address that as well and bring you that news too. Because like I said, on Formula One's website, I didn't see anything about it. I saw tire testing, new compounds for Pirelli, and what it is to be working aside Alonso and all of that other good stuff. And I was going on there to see maybe if they had information that would correlate and kind of bring to you a mixture of the two and what they were going to do, but that was not there. So you know how I do. It is 11:24, which is 23:24 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, my time. And here I am on the mic with you, Blue Diva. What's going on? I see you. Just above that, Colin, I know that profile picture, so I know you're here all the time. Welcome everybody else who is not usually here. If you're new to the channel, I am Jay, your host, Wolfpack Performance Talk Podcast, and F1 Minute, Mondays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. 083, I see you as well. So yeah, just send a big shout out or send some positive messages. Call and check on somebody. If you know somebody that's in that area, even in that surrounding area, call and check or send some type of message and check on them. Don't wait till the weekend. Don't wait till the weekend to try to check on them. All right? Check on them now. It's no time like now. People like to procrastinate. It's no time like now. It's 4:25 a.m. in UK. And Blue Diva, what the hell are you doing up? What are you doing up? Greetings to everybody. So yeah, I do things a little bit different on this platform. I am a bit different as far as the rest of the platforms. And I'm going to talk about things that probably other content creators that talk about Formula One won't even bother to talk about. That's what I do. That's me. And I could care less about how it impacts my subscriber base or how it impacts my numbers and what the algorithm thinks about that. I don't care. We were going to be talking about Formula One all this weekend where these people live their life. And so now that it's flooding, people don't want to talk. Nah, we're going to talk about it. And I'm hoping and sending out positive blessings and vibes to them. And we're going to bring and highlight this situation because they need it. All right, Spider R35, they need to move the race. to before the summer break. Yeah, there is something that could be said about logistically replanning or planning the race different than where they are. It's just like some of the car shows around here. There's a car show. I always happens to think that the best time to come here is in March, and it's not. It's one of the worst times. And 8 times out of 10 that they have it, it rains. It's halfway, cloudy. Nobody wants to bring a custom car out. Yeah, there are things that need to be looked at. Like on the regular, is this weather typical for this area, and should we be trying to go in there? Probably not. Because think about this. It's a strain, right? And I'm going to say this. It's a strain because consider this. Formula One is coming there. And yeah, people want to go to a Formula One race. And I'm going to tell you, like, ticket prices for U.S. Formula One are high. They're the highest out of all probably of the circuits. Formula One tickets for U.S. fans, U.S. viewers are higher than probably anywhere else. These people have probably spent their hard-earned money. Now, you can remember back in Spa when they canceled that race. I believe that was Spa, that it was red flagged, and then it rained and rained. They couldn't get the race going back on. And what did they do? They had to cancel the race, but they didn't refund these people their money for their tickets. So is Formula One, because I'm sure that these people have spent their hard-earned money on Formula One tickets, whether that's general admission or somebody had the money to pay for paddock passes. Okay, whatever the case is, somebody spent their hard-earned money. Is Formula One, if they have to cancel this race in lieu of this natural disaster, going to refund people their money for a race that is not their fault why they could not make? Because I'll tell you what I do. If I have a client and I have to cancel an appointment with the client, what I do is if I'm canceling that appointment, I'm going to credit that client financially. It's not their fault that I have to cancel and reschedule or move them around. I'm going to credit them financially. Formula One, I'm going to be looking to see if they have to cancel or they do cancel this race in light of a natural disaster ruining the surrounding area, ruining people's lives. Is Formula One going to say, you know what, let's give that money back? Let's give that money back. Let's go ahead and debit credit all these people that have spent this money to come to this race. Let's give it back to them because they're going to need it more than we do. We're not going to keep it. We're not going to sit here and tell them, hey, we'll give you free passes for the next GP, or if we're not even going to come back to your area, we'll grant you general admission passes to the next closest GP. No, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear Formula One say, we are going to give everyone who spent money on tickets to come to the Emilia GP, we're going to give you your money back so that you can put that money in a better place. All right. Blue Diva says the FIA need to postpone so the locals will still be able to earn their income from the race weekend. That is another, Blue Diva, there's another area of interest that we should talk about. What about the people that were going to benefit financially from the race coming there? You know, when a big act comes to town, several of the smaller companies or even bigger companies and or people who will be able to work the race can make additional money. What about that, right? There is that factor too. So that is something else that they would need to think about, something else that needs to be thought about and talked about, and that's why I'm here talking about it. That's why I don't mind people like Blue Diva, Fam, bringing these situations up so we can highlight it and put it out there. Yeah. So, yeah, that's another situation. I still think that if they don't, they need to refund everybody the money for the general admission passes that they pay for and or grandstand passes that they pay for. Because if they live in that area, especially if you live in that area, we're giving you your money back. Okay, period. We're giving you your money back. If you were flying into this race, this is not your home race. You're just flying in because you like to fly in everywhere else. We'll find another GP to credit you your money and you can go and fly to another GP. But people who live in that area, who have been impacted, who have lost their homes, their belongings, possibly family members, friends, and kids, we're just giving you your money back. You know, so at the end of the day, it's a situation that is completely out of their control. It's Mother Nature, okay? It's the world and the earth we live on. They had no idea. It's not Formula One's fault that it happened, but Formula One can do things that other people can't do. Like, we don't need this money in light of what's going on. So what's going on, Baraka? I see you. The FIA, I feel you. Good evening, by the way, to you as well. So we'll see what happens as the night goes and things develop and the morning comes to see what else. I'm hoping that things won't get worse for these individuals. Um, I'm hoping that Formula One can look and see like maybe this is something that we have to think again. I know we typically don't refund, but this ain't it. And maybe they'll say, you know what, we don't refund, and that's what we do, and we don't do it. Here it is. This is what you got to deal with. Well, okay. Well, that's the way they're gonna do business. That's the way they're gonna do business. Hey, evidently they got a better business model than me to run Formula One because I didn't start the Formula One circuit, nor do I hold a supervisor, a director, an executive position in the FOM that would even give me some insight or leverage to make these decisions. So I'm not saying I'm qualified. I'm just speaking my mind, my opinion based on what I'm seeing, and maybe my heart and my mind on what I would do to try to make it right for somebody that is in trouble or in a bad situation. So we'll see what happens. But if we'll, I'm not going to even worry about saying that. We'll just see what happens. All right. So this is Jay, Wolfpack Performance Talk Podcast, F1 Minute, the hottest live show on the planet for Formula One content, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Times on Mondays. We will still be here this coming up Monday, regardless if there's a GP or not, to talk about either this situation or other things that had developed over the course of this week into Formula One, and still hoping that these people reach safety and are able to put their lives back together, because right now their lives are being torn apart. Uno says use the refunds for flooded victims and help. Yeah, they could do that. That's why I was saying, like, to stay and help. Like, if you're not going to give a refund, then write a check. Write a check to the town that's going to aid and help these people get back on their feet. That's not a refund. That's you doing charity work in a big, nice, good way. So, and you got the money to do it. So stop playing, because you're coming to the U.S. and you're charging us almost anywhere from $600 to $1,000 for general admission, and almost $8,000 to $11,000 and even $12,000 for paddock passes. All right, for hospitality passes. So, yeah, you got the bread, you got the cake, you got the bag. Do something good with it. And I've said this: bad people will do good things for money, but now it's time to see Formula One do good things with money to help people that are in a bad position. So, all right, we will see you all later on. It is almost the 17th of May in the morning, 26 minutes from now. It will be that. So I probably will be up doing something, grinding, working. I don't sleep a lot. I will see you all soon. Also come back to the platform for other news, especially Formula One and motorsports news. But as of right now, this is what's going on. So I don't mind talking about it and using my platform to try to give these people some highlights, so maybe people will understand that it's more than just racing right now. So, all right, y'all take it easy. Be safe yourself. Peace.